Hey everybody, ronarray here, and GG buffed Expedition multiple times in 0.5. I'm going to cover farming strategy which at that moment is used to farm Expedition. That strategy is pretty nice for raw currency drops. I'm also going to showcase multiple setups for it, from cheap easy one up to more expensive and the one with a better loot. While farming it, I also dropped Aldur, so I believe it has a pretty decent chances for jackpot too if you will get lucky. However, just getting basic currency is feeling absolutely amazing while running that strategy. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate farming strategies breakdowns, and let's go. For the most part of current expedition farms, you're going to focus on grand expeditions, so on the maps that have that icon instead of like normal maps. Normal maps you can practically run with any tablets, just finish them as fast as possible to get to grand expeditions as fast as you can. And usually during the grand expedition you're trying to get good Verisium rune drops. However, while running that strategy, you're also going to get a pretty decent amount of loot from monsters themselves. That way you can still get good things such as Aldur Saga from your grand expedition itself, but you can also get a very decent loot from monsters too. Especially since expedition monsters are scaling pretty good with some particular modifiers, monsters, effectiveness and rarity. So first off, let's talk about the basics. We are still using Jado Spycraft because Jado is providing both Eastern Knowledge for Verisium Remnants has 10% chance to be rolled in additional time, together with Unexpected Missions, so all corrupted Waystones are going to get +1 random modifier, improving your map, general loot from monsters from it, so that's very recommended. Also, corrupting Waystones is also mandatory to get all bonuses from Unexpected Missions. And on top of that, you can also get partial translations, so from 0 to 40% increased effect of explicit modifiers on tablets. All of that is making Jado absolutely mandatory to run that strategy. However, I'm not really using Aldur Sagas or anything else, so instead, I'm just using basic logbooks and running them as fast as possible while focusing only on Grand Expedition itself. So to farm that strategy, you also will have two options for tablets. One of them is cheaper and significantly easier, and second option is going to be more expensive and harder to farm, however with higher loot potential. First off, let's start with an easy and cheaper one. Right here, you will just need basic irradiated tablets with a combination of rarity of items found and monsters have increased effectiveness. Most of the time, I recommend to just aim for 10% rarity and about 10-12% effectiveness to keep your tablets cheap. So you will need to use 3 tablets like that, absolutely identical ones, if at the moment you will check the prices for such tablets. They go approximately for 2 divines. So it's pretty cheap. For all 3 tablets you're going to pay only 6 divines, which is absolutely fine right now. If you want to make it even cheaper, you can lower the numbers even further, so instead you can get like lowest amount of rarity and lowest amount of effectiveness, and you can get them for 1 divine in that case, for as cheap as possible strategy. However, most of the time paying a little more could be worth it, so check options. At the moment, like just 8% rarity and 30% effectiveness, 1 divine, I believe it's absolutely worth it. I would probably go for cheaper tablets to maximize the profit. Everything else, such as Waystones and the rest of the setup, is going to be the same between those 2 types of tablets. However, just getting additional effectiveness and rarity on monsters that you're finding an expedition is going to improve your loot significantly. And if your build is stronger and you're feeling absolutely great farming expedition, for example if you're playing a Virulin, you can pick a harder variation of that strategy. That way you will need to get tablets with map has 2 additional random modifiers, right here, together with rarity and effectiveness again. It should be either rarity or effectiveness to make sure you're not overpaying for tablets too much. But right here, as you can see, I have 2 additional random modifiers tablets, together with 10% rarity on all of them. So if you will go for such tablets at the moment, so just double modifiers, and for example a little effectiveness or a little rarity, you can go for like 11 and maybe approximately 10. You're going to end up with about 3 divines per tablet, could be a little higher or a little lower. And if you want to go for the maximum, you can always try to pick both modifiers. But that way, tablets cost 12 divines, and in my opinion, at the moment, it's not really worth it. So instead, I would just recommend to pick one tablet with like effectiveness and double tablets with rarity. However, important part, when you're searching for those tablets, make sure that they don't have increased gold found in maps, so gold piles. Currently, there's a pretty big idea that in the expedition, gold piles can literally lower amount of the loot that you are receiving and make your profit less. So I recommend to just add not and gold found in maps modifier. For the rest, as you can see, you can get basic tablets like that for like 1-2 divines, and those should be approximately like 3-4. They might jump in price a little or fall down, but you can always just check the prices at the current market and decide the setup for yourself. Both of the setups are going to work just fine. You also need to get logbooks, which is pretty basic and at the moment not too expensive, it's going to pay for itself just fine. If you want, you can also use some particular sagas to fight the boss, but at the moment I don't really believe like it's absolutely necessary. Going for Strat is probably would be an absolute basic idea. It's going to be like 376 exalted. It could be a little too much to just pay for the boss, so if you want additional game buff, feel free to go for Strat Saga. If you don't, you can completely ignore it and run it without sagas at all, or with any random saga just to get any kind of boss in your map. Now let's talk about the Waystone itself and how exactly you need to prepare it to farm it. So first off, you're just taking the basic Waystone, adding the maximum modifiers, and I believe that you can use Omen of Chaotic Quantity to get good modifiers on your Waystone for like monster effectiveness, monster rarity, and item rarity. I believe that item rarity is playing the biggest role right here and effectiveness is second, so monster rarity is not too important. If you want, you can also use Chaotic Monsters, Omen 2 together with Chaotic Quantity, and just click the Waystone you have right here with Chaos Orb. So you're getting something like that. About 30% of monster effectiveness and about 50% of item rarity, which is pretty decent at the moment. After it, don't forget to corrupt your Waystone with Vile Orb to get the bonus from Jado. Right here, as you can see, we got even higher rarity and pretty decent effectiveness too. So after that, make sure that you are spending your good tablets that you bought only for Grand Expedition maps, and you're not spending them for basic maps because those are practically empty. You can run them without tablets at all and with random Waystones. So only for Grand Expedition you're spending good tablets and the good Waystone you crafted. So when you're going in, the main goal is to pick currency and additional rune setups like that. The more rune it will have, the better chances for good loot for you from monsters. So if you have some particular additional runes, like Soul Rune for example, even if the reward is not too good, you can still pick that. Also, you can click B and check the recipes that you have. For that, just go down here and some recipes could be undiscovered. Check if you finished all the recipes at least from the campaign. Those undiscovered recipes are coming from underground zones like that, but the chance to get those is pretty low and you might need to run a lot of underground areas for it. If inside your Waystone you also have like an opportunities to pick the totems for additional rarity from monsters for example, pick them as well. Keep in mind that a pretty big part of your profit is coming from getting constant Chaos Orbs from basic runes. Also monsters are dropping a lot of Chaos Orbs too, so considering the current Chaos prices, you can get a lot of currency just from Chaos Orbs and Raw Divines drops themselves. And the biggest part is also coming from like Greater Chaos Orbs, Perfect Chaos Orbs, and additional drops like that coming from the ones with big amount of runes. Another important part of that farm is Bond Rune. Bond Rune have rare monsters may transfer a mod on death. That rune is buffing your rare monsters significantly, so always try to get that first. So, for example, if you got it on your map, you need to get your placement for Bond immediately, and that way your rare monsters may transfer some particular mods to other rare monsters in your map when they're dying, and it's going to boost your loot. So how to maximize the loot from that strategy? First off, don't forget about your own character rarity bonus. Perfectly, you will need to have about 150% rarity, but even 100 it helps a lot with rare drops. Second, don't overpay for the tablets. Running cheaper tablets is a pretty important key because you're going to get a lot of currency from just basic Expedition itself and sometimes from monster as well. And the last part, make sure that you're crafting Waystones properly too, but not over-investing in them as well. Running those expeditions as fast as possible is also improving your amount of divines per hour too, so try to run them as fast as you can. In the end, the big part of your expedition profit is just going to come from Verisium runes themselves. And I hope that video will help you out with farming expedition and dropping additional stuff for yourself too. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. ronarray out.